All right. Thank you for listening to another episode of NFL Live Stream of Consciousness, rocking with you on a Monday. Getting close to a couple of deadlines here, a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's go ahead and get into it. The big story of today came out of nowhere. Calvin Ridley being suspended for the year for gambling on football. Let's go ahead and bring up the information on it. So Calvin Ridley admits that he bet $1,500 on football. A lot of people are saying that this is the worst football bet in history. You bet $1,500 and you end up losing $10 million, which was his salary for the next year. A couple of things here. He was on leave for mental health issues for the majority of last year. And this bet was placed while he was out on this leave. So maybe he was under the assumption that he wasn't, barred from making these bets. I don't know if that was, made clear to him. Also, the amount that he bet, $1,500. Now, he could have bet more. This might be just the only bet they know of. And the fact that he used, it looks like it was a NFL sponsored app. So it wasn't one of these offshore apps. This was not like, Bovado or MyBookie. This was like MGM type app because it was one of the NFL partners they were able to get the information from. That also leads me to believe that he probably didn't know that he couldn't do this because he made no efforts to cover it up. I don't know. It just seems pretty harsh to suspend him for the whole year. I know why the NFL is doing it. They have to cover their tracks. And maybe cover their tracks is the wrong term because that implies that they did something nefarious and they didn't. I think this is more just an issue of they have so much invested into gambling and promoting gambling and official gambling partners that they must look like everything is above board. This might also be like a warning shot to other players. Like, if we catch you, I don't care if you bet $1, you bet $1 million, you're going to lose your whole year's salary. So is it worth it? So I think that Calvin Ridley just is a victim of his own, incompetence, and then just the circumstances of the situation. The NFL has so much invested into it. They cannot be seen as throwing games. This is also very interesting to me because it leads you down a path to think that maybe the Dolphins owner is going to get the book thrown at him as well. Because you have to look at this. This is all in the same vein as integrity of the game. And if they are making an example of him, this isn't no Pete Rose situation where Pete Rose had a bookie, he betting on all the games and games that he's coaching in and all types of stuff. This isn't that situation. He wasn't playing for the team at the time. He actually bet on his team to win. My man Elvis, shout out to him, said, I'm a Falcons fan and I didn't even bet on my team to win. So, and maybe there might be more information, but from what we know, this isn't a Pete Rose type of situation. But they threw the book at him because there was too much on the line as far as gambling and integrity of the game. And the allegation that Brian Flores is making goes at the heart of the, integrity of the game. There's millions of their partners that are doing the eliminator, for example. And if you have a team out there that is going to intentionally lose all their games, and I, as someone who's playing an eliminator, knows that I have a unfair advantage over everyone because I'm taking the Dolphins unless they're playing a divisional opponent that they've already played before, and I can't. I'm taking the team that they're playing against every week. So, yeah, I think this portends to some serious trouble from Stephen Ross. If there's any paperwork, text message, any paperwork, he's done. I think he might be good with that. He's an octogenarian. He's 80 plus, so he might just be like, hey, let me just go ahead and ride off to the sunset. So it's interesting. But yeah, I don't know, it just seems a bit harsh, especially when you're dealing with someone who was, having some mental anguish at the time You can see how this mistake could possibly be made, and to just throw him and you kick him out for a whole year, it just seems harsh to me. Um, Other news that's going on in the NFL, it looks like the Packers are looking to make a what did I read? A season altering altering offer to Aaron Rodgers. So Patty Mahomes is making 45 a year. Market altering, I'm guessing, is 50 a year, 55 a year. Like, you're changing the value proposition not from $1 million or $2 million, you're changing it from $5 to $10 million. Now, the salary cap went up, the biggest jump in NFL history. That was because the salary cap went down the season before because of COVID. But, a lot of people are pretending to DirecTV possibly losing the NFL Sunday ticket and then it going to like Amazon or going to Apple, one of these individuals who's willing to pay top dollar to get their services going. I think it'll be an interesting move for Apple more than Amazon, because Apple's kind of struggled to get their services going. Ted Lasso has done well, but that's pretty much the only thing. They have that newsroom show like that, but I think people parody it as much as enjoy it. So to get another blue chip valuable asset might be worth it for them. But I'm going off in a tangent, but the cap may jump up again. So it's not surprising that they're going to make this Godfather offer to him to get to stay. But he says Tuesday you'll have some clarity, which is tomorrow. And I'm guessing that's because tomorrow is the deadline to use your franchise tag. So if they end up franchise tagging Devontae Adams and not taking care of him, I think he might ask for a trade. So that would be interesting. The Browns used their tag on David Njoku. They're paying big money to Austin Hooper. So it doesn't really make sense to me, just on a team building standpoint, to tag him. You see right here where it says company that oversees betting integrity for NFL reported Calvin Ridley to the league. So yeah, it's not like he was trying to hide it. He could have had a book off the side and handle it. Back to that. Here you see Panthers have gotten calls about trading Christian McCaffrey. They said multiple times that they want to be a running team and run the ball 30 times a game. Their coach, who talks too damn much, has said this on multiple occasions. To me, I think that I probably would look into trading him. Because he's missed so many games. It says right here, 23 games missed the last season. He's missed too many games and he's just not reliable. Like if you could get a first round pick for him and a player that of value, I think they got to look at that. If they can get a first round pick and a solid offensive lineman, because they have the worst offensive line in the league, they might have to take, because he's a great player, McCaffrey, but there's running backs, they're dime a dozen. So it's just like, I would definitely do that. And I saw here, it's not listed here, but Matthew Stafford is potentially going to get $45 million a year. That just is another reason why, if I'm McVay and I'm Donald, that I'm out after this year. Let's run it back and then I'm out. I just think that's just a ridiculous to pay him, to even discuss paying him an average salary rate that's close to Patrick Mahomes, means that you guys weren't paying attention and you were just in love with winning that Super Bowl. And it's fine. The owner can pay it. And, part about talking about sports and people's contracts sometimes is like, you feel like you're hating. Like, if he can make that little, let him make it. But $45 million, paying him the same as Patrick Mahomes, is that the type of player that we saw this year? I think all in all, to wrap it back to the Calvin Ridley situation, I think the NFL has to be hardened that, they can show people, hey, our process works. Look, they caught it. They reported it to us. And another thing this might lead to the NFL wanting to do is, hey, can we legalize gambling everywhere? So in every state. So like we don't have to deal with, the offshore books and, the back alley books. Because if we can get everyone using, these approved protocols, we can catch anyone who's doing anything nefarious. Because the only people who would use a book would be the people that a bookie wouldn't want. If it's legal in your state, why wouldn't you use it? The bookie, I guess, dealing with someone who's paying and arrears is fine, but if you have the money, generally, if you have the money to bet, I don't see why you wouldn't use an app. So I don't know. We will see. So scouting combine over. A lot of guys ran fast. Some guys didn't. Some guys had big hands. Some guys didn't. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, let's go ahead and leave it there. Tuesday is a big day. Obviously, with Aaron Rodgers, he's a big domino. He's the first one to fall. If he goes to Denver, that takes a team off of the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. So I think that's the first domino, and you could see a lot of quarterbacks doing the carousel after that. All right, game is game.
So what's up, man? What's up with you otherwise, The game is a game. Always.